Hey friends, welcome back to Beard Talk, episode 2. Yeah, I was really pleased with actually how the last episode came out. So yeah, we're just gonna keep the good vibes rolling. We're gonna keep it up, and see if we can make something and go from there. Yeah, a little bit of recap from last time. Kind of introduced myself and talked a bit about my depression and stuff like that. And I want it to be a kind of a theme throughout these talks. Obviously, that will change and develop over time, and I hope we get more feedback so we can cover more ranges of topics and stuff. But anyway, I hope we all had a good Christmas. I had a pretty decent Christmas for the most part, and that's quite relative because that's kind of what I want to focus on today. The Christmas period. I know it can be hard for people, particularly with mental health and such, and it can be quite lonely, and I don't think that's necessarily talked about very often. So, and for me, Christmas last year was probably the kind of the peak of my mental health happening. I'm probably going to go over my like sort of depression, quote unquote, timeline in another video because I don't want to like throw everything out everyone. And if anyone has any questions, I can always answer that along the way as well. But long story short, last Christmas anyway, with COVID and the lack of social time, and I'd been working silly hard at work again in between the lockdowns, which we didn't know what was happening. My girlfriend didn't know whether she was going to be able to go to France or not, and if that's the case, whether she was going to come stay with me over Christmas, which I don't usually have people around Christmas. I do like just having me and my ma and our quiet time. But obviously, I wasn't going to let my girlfriend have Christmas Day on her own. But I don't know whether because I'd been feeling sort of on edge for a while and trying to make myself happy, I was really looking forward to Christmas that year, or maybe I was trying to force myself to enjoy Christmas. I always have a little bit of a sort of humbug spirit, and it's just like, oh, it's not a big deal. But then when it's not there, it kind of sucks. The world sucks without Christmas. So, and I remember last year on Christmas Day, that I'd opened my presents and had a really nice big breakfast, and then it felt like my heart sank. It yeah, it was just like felt down, and of course at the time I didn't really understand what was happening. Obviously later on I figured out, and after plenty of sort of self searching and investigating myself and asking myself a lot of questions, where did this come from? Again, I'm going to talk about that in probably another episode and breaking it sort of down, and my depression, and maybe that's how it happens to everyone else. Obviously it's different for everyone else, but if I can give some sort of answers, to depression or anxiety, not that I'm a doctor, full disclaimer, I'm not a doctor, but if some people can get some sort of, kind of perspective, and go, oh right, yeah, I've felt like that, and oh yeah, that's how I feel. Maybe it might be, if I can help someone, then brilliant. So Christmas last year, that was my sort of the start of going down. Everything was working. My anxiety was going up, and then the depression kicked in, and that's when I started going sort of downhill. So fast forward a year, and it's been a tough year. Obviously, I've gone and had some lows, but for the most part, I've been slowly bouncing back. It's taken quite the time. Like I said, it's a year now, and I'm still not fully in the frame of mind where I want it to be. I'm still working on adjusting my antidepressants, my medication. That in itself is a big challenge, and the physical side is going to be a big challenge. But in regards to Christmas, this year I'd kind of set out my sort of plans for anyone else. I was like, right, I'm not going to be stressed. I'm not going to put too much expectations on the time off. I was going to take it as it comes and enjoy it and be productive as I slowly am becoming more with it, and I was going to use that time wisely. But in the back of my mind was always the fact that last year, that was a sort of a pinnacle point. What if the same happens again this year and you have another you know depressive episode, or whatever you call it, and you have a setback, which, like, I know my girlfriend always says to me when I have sort of that negative way of thinking. It's like, if you start thinking that way, then you're more likely to kind of be you're more likely to kind of think that way and kind of go in that direction, and that doesn't help. And I know that because that's how my mind works. As soon as I see a negative, my mind is kind of like, well, what's up here? What if this? What is that? And the battle of the what ifs. You're never going to win. It's good to investigate and explore, be self-aware of what's happening to you. But as soon as you start going down that road, for me anyway, it just brings on more anxiety, and that feeds the depression, and the depression feeds the anxiety, and before you know it, you're going around in circles. So yeah, I was very much kind of aware this year of that, but I was also saying to myself, no, I'm not going to put pressure on myself. So food wise, it's like, enjoy yourself. We can work on the physical side in the new year, and it needs to be worked on because it's not going great. Could be worse, but being diabetic and stuff, and the amount of crap I've eaten in the last year and the lack of exercise, I don't want any long-term side effects. And of course, doing exercise will help mentally as well in that sort of recovery process. So that's the next step, and again, I'll talk about that in another time, because I do have like a somewhat vague plan of how I'm going to get through this. But again, that next time. Well, if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll try and answer them. So yeah, I'd said to my mum, like, if you want to go, visit family over Christmas or New Year, then you're more than welcome to. I will happily be on my own, because a lot of people don't want to be on their own, and I've spent a lot of time being on my own, and sometimes that can be difficult because we are social creatures, and every so often I do kind of go, well, I do want to spend some time with friends. um, but not all the time. I've become very used to my own sort of company, and that's sort of the difference. That becomes that's been a big thing for me. I'm quite happy to a degree being on my own, and doing things that I enjoy, whether it's Pokemon cards, playing games, chatting with friends on Xbox, and as such, and looking after myself. So I was kind of happy for just having that alone time with just me and my dog. I was perfectly happy with that. Yeah, and I didn't know what my girlfriend was going to do for Christmas either, because obviously, again, it was kind of the same debacle as last year. Her mum's in France, could she get over? And it's kind of like, will she, won't she? And she's managed to make it over safely, which was awesome. So I know that made Mrs. B very happy. So I know that her Christmas was a nice one. And over New Year's, my mum was going to go see friends, but family, sorry, and that's not going to happen. So kind of plans kind of change, and I've just said to myself throughout, look, I've told you what I'm going to do, and I'm going to stick to that. And more often than not, I spend more time flapping around going, oh, what are we going to do? What are you going to do? And figuring out, getting it in my head. It's the process of something, of changing. Like, I don't like change. I adapt to it quite well, but particularly when someone says, right, we're going to do this such and such weekend, I go, right, yeah, cool, let's do that. And then it's like, okay, well, no, we're not doing that, but we're doing this, this, and this. It's just, oh, fuck's sake. Why? But again, that's something I need to work on. But yeah, I'd set out my Christmas plans, and I was kind of just like, I'm going to do this regardless. You know, if we get locked down, I'll stream. If we get locked, if I can't see anyone, I've got plenty to be getting on with my podcast and my YouTubes and my eBay store and my beard merchandise coming soon, hopefully. I've got a lot of creative things going on in my head that I can get through and I'm slowly working through. And that's been a big part of the process of helping me sort of push through this depression. It's part of a process of where I'm trying to, explore my creative outlets. Something I've always had, from early on. I've always liked drawing and stuff, but like now, I'm no good at that sort of thing. So it's kind of gone into TikToks and Instagram, and now this thing on YouTube, and there's more to come. Hopefully, playthroughs and such. So watch this space, people. But also trying to make something of it where I can hopefully make some sort of have a balance of this and work and having them both together. That's the big challenge. And I don't think a lot of people, maybe more people on like YouTube and through Twitch will understand, and other creatives. But it is hard to explain that to some other people who kind of, work the 9 to 5 sort of thing. And I get it, people got to earn money and look after themselves and have a roof over their head and have food in their bellies. Going off on a bit of a tangent now, so I'm going to step away from that. But anyway, Christmas, it was good. I got some really nice presents. My mum's always kind of like, I never know what to get you, and I end up getting a cup and some others, some spangly little things. But she's usually really good anyway. But this year she's hit the nail on the head and got loads of cool things for me. So I was really happy with all my presents from my girlfriend and her mother and stuff. And I had a really nice Christmas day. It was nice and chilled. I didn't get stressed. Had lots of nice food. Again, eating way too much, but that's a next year problem. I did feel a little bit down on Boxing Day. There was a couple of days where people were either quieter. My Xbox friends, partly due to myself. I should have said something like, "Come on, friends, let's go play games." And because when I get in a bit of a negative mode, or sometimes I just like my free time, it's hard to kind of go, let's go, be social, which is stupid because in times like that when it's kind of like you need to be social, it's like, oh, it's hard to be. So yeah, I had a bit of a kind of, I don't want to say a down day on Boxing Day, but it was a bit of an anxious day. But I think that's partly due to coming off my metrazapine. That's an update. I'm on 2 types of antidepressants. I'm coming off one of them, which I'm kind of a bit because I really like it. Like the combination that I work with sertraline and metrazapine work really well. But it gives me a confidence. It switches my brain on, and I'm super productive. But the sertraline gives me insomnia, so I have to take. Well, I don't have to, but started taking metrazapine to help with the insomnia. But then, I was able to sleep. But then I started eating the world. Literally, I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I'd just snack on anything. My girlfriend joked actually yesterday. When I was awake because there'd be just packets of crisps and stuff on the floor, which I've just demolished like a family bag of Doritos in 3 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, that's not good considering I've already started putting on weight because of the amount of crap I've been eating. My diet's been terrible, so I didn't want to go down that road. So anyway, yeah, but I've for the most part I've had a good Christmas. I saw Mrs. B and her mum just be yesterday. We had like a little family, our little small family, just me and my mum and her mum, and yeah, we had a second sort of Christmas dinner, which was awesome. Yeah, and that's about it really. I think everything's going well. The stream's going well. What else have we got? My Instagram is picking up a little bit. TikTok, I've had a little bit of break from kind of TikTok and Instagram over Christmas. I think I needed it so I could come back fresh and sort of think of new content and kind of be a bit more engaging and be a bit more sort of, come up with something a bit more unique rather than just the same old stuff I've been doing. But again, another thing that I'll come to. I've got my eBay shop that I'm going to start setting up and get my Pokemon cards on there because my coffee page doesn't seem to really be doing it very well. Um, but yeah, we'll see. Positive things in the future, and that's going to be it. That's another episode of Beard Talk. Yeah, I will see you all next time, friends. I hope you enjoy the rest of your holidays. I will see you about in the Beardiverse, wherever that may be. And yeah, just have fun, stay safe, and see you next time, friends. Bye bye.